Hello, and congratulations on your recent employment. Today we will be discussing our policy against sexual harassment and discrimination. Here at Humphreys Peaks Gentlemen's Club, we are committed to providing a safe environment for all team members free from discrimination on any ground and harassment at work. This includes, but is not limited to, both sexual harassment or sexual discrimination. This establishment will operate on a zero-tolerance policy for any form of sexual discrimination and sexual harassment at work. Treat all incidents with respect and seriously and promptly investigate all allegations of sexual discrimination and sexual harassment. So, you might be asking yourself, what defines sexual harassment and sexual discrimination? Well, sexual harassment is defined as any unwelcome sexual behavior that makes a person feel humiliated, intimidated, offended, and/or uncomfortable. And sexual discrimination is a proposition to treating someone favorably or unfavorably because an individual characteristic that is legally protected. This includes your gender identity, your characteristics associated with your sex, such as career responsibilities, pregnancy, breastfeeding, etc. Although these concepts may sound simple, they are much more expansive than one might come to think. Let's first take a deeper look into sexual discrimination through an example. Sarah goes to work and needs to tell her boss that she is pregnant. She tells her boss, and he immediately tells her she will not be receiving the promotion she was promised because she will not be around enough to truly handle the responsibilities. This would not happen if her male coworker, Jim, walked into the office and said his wife was pregnant. He will still be just as busy with the baby afterwards, but the boss does not treat the two instances similarly. Now, let's further explore sexual harassment. As mentioned earlier, sexual harassment is defined as any unwelcome sexual behavior that makes a person feel humiliated, intimidated, offended, and/or uncomfortable. But what exactly are these behaviors? These behaviors can easily be broken down into three categories: physical, verbal, and nonverbal conduct. First, physical conduct is any unwelcome physical conduct such as patting, pinching, stroking, kissing, hugging, fondling, or any other inappropriate touching. This category even goes as far to include physical violence, sexual assault, and solicitation of sexual favors. Second, verbal conduct includes commenting on a coworker's age, appearance, personal life, etc., condescending or paternalistic remarks, insulting the sex of the worker, repeated and/or unwanted social invitations for dates or physical closeness, sending messages, sexually explicit, even by phone or by email, sexual advances, sexual comments, jokes, and stories. Lastly, nonverbal conduct includes displaying of sexual explicit and/or suggestive material, leering, sexual suggestive gesturing, whistling. Now, you might be asking yourself, who can become a victim of sexual harassment? The answer to that is anyone. It doesn't matter who you are, it only matters that any advances of a sexual nature made towards you are unwanted. Anyone can be a victim of sexual harassment regardless of their sexual orientation and the sexual orientation of the harasser. Anyone subject to sexual harassment should, if possible, inform the alleged harasser that the conduct is unwanted and unwelcome. Humphreys Peaks Gentlemen's Club recognizes that sexual harassment may occur in unequal relationships, for example, between a supervisor and his or her team member. Thus, it may not be possible or comfortable for the victim to notify the alleged perpetrator. If a victim is unable to directly approach the perpetrator, he or she can approach the designated staff members responsible for receiving sexual harassment complaints. This person could be a designated member of management, a member of the human resource department, a supervisor, etc. On our team, it would be Bob or Lisa that are both in charge of HR. While filing a complaint, the victim of the harassment will have two options: to file a formal complaint or to file an informal complaint. Let's take a deeper look into the informal complaint. The informal complaint is a process in which the issue will be remedied by the involving immediate parties only through the means of discussion and resolution. Immediately involved management will also conduct follow-ups in order to gauge the effectiveness of the informal solution. Although informal in name, these complaints are handled with utmost professionalism and respect to all parties involved. Now, let's take a look into the formal complaint. A victim of harassment is welcome to file a formal complaint either from the initial filing stage or if they find the results of the informal complaint process unsatisfactory. This process will include a formal investigation of the complaint by either senior human resource managers or outside investigators with the possibility of outside actions being taken. It should be noted that all records keeping during either complaint process will be kept strictly confidential and that any victim may remain entirely anonymous if they wish. It is also important to note that in order to avoid bias, no management or HR member will suggest that one complaint option be selected over another. This decision will be made entirely by the person filing the complaint, and the management or HR will only assist in the process. It is also important to note that any victim of sexual harassment or discrimination is capable of filing a complaint outside of the company with the EEOC. Contact a member of management or HR if you have any questions. Humphreys Peaks Gentlemen's Club will ensure that this policy is widely distributed to all team members and relevant visitors. This policy will be included in the staff handbook and posted in any and all team member areas. All new employees will be required to pass training on the content of this policy as part of their induction into the company. Each year, Humphreys Peaks Gentlemen's Club will mandate a requirement for all team members to attend a refresher course on the content of this policy. It is the responsibility of the manager at every level to ensure that all team members are aware of and educated on this policy. Humphreys Peaks Gentlemen's Club recognizes the importance of monitoring this sexual discrimination and sexual harassment policy and ensures that data and statistics will be anonymously collected as to how it is used and how effective the efforts of Humphreys Peaks Gentlemen's Club are. Managers are those responsible for sexual discrimination and sexual harassment cases will report compliance with this policy for each respective department, including the numbers of incidents, how they were dealt with, and any recommendations therein. This will be done annually. As a result of this report, Humphreys Peaks Gentlemen's Club will evaluate the effectiveness of this policy and make changes as needed. Any person found to have sexually discriminated against or sexually harassed anyone else under the terms of this policy will be subject to immediate termination, as our company operates on a zero-tolerance policy for this kind of behavior. Let's all work together to make our workplace a safe and comfortable environment for all. Please take this time to ask any questions you may have in regard to the sexual harassment policy here at Humphreys Peaks Gentlemen's Club.